Perfect. Thank you, Adrian. So I'm not full of jokes like Patty, so hopefully you can you'll be able to make it through my part here. I definitely appreciate everyone's time today, and what the goal is today is to take you through how to use SWK's multi-bin in conjunction with the Scanco warehouse management software. And what that's going to do is just really increase the efficiency of your warehousing operations. And kind of the goal there is not only to increase the accuracy and efficiency, but give you a more dynamic inventory. That way you're able to track it a lot faster. You don't have those long delays that you may be experiencing now. So the Scanco company, we're actually celebrating our 25th year this year, so we're pretty excited about that. We've been with Sage for over 20 of those years, so that's really cool as well. We are a Sage OEM partner. We're the Sage barcode vendor of choice, and really the industry leader in warehouse management software for Sage 100 and also Sage 500. We've been partnered with SWK for most of that time as well, and Patty will get into the SWK side in a little bit. But really, what we want to do is show you how, two companies can come together and provide a solution that's going to enhance that experience you already have with your Sage 100 ERP. One of the things that we're really excited to announce with the new Scanco warehouse, it's a cloud-based application. We can also do local configurations if that's required, but the cloud-based definitely allows you the full feature set of the solution. And now we can not only run on the Windows, the rugged handhelds like you're used to, we can also run on iOS and Android devices. We've really opened up that device world to you. Lower cost devices, you have extras laying around. It's just really a lot better system with everything working together. We have live validation. We're the only real-time solution available, which means we don't operate in a batch mode. So you're not scanning, you're not waiting for stuff to sync. We have automatic updates. We don't have to schedule long support calls to update your software any longer. That's all done automatically. Of course, you can mix and match these devices. We also have hands-free barcoding accessories, so you can put a solution together, wrist mount devices, ring scanners to where it keeps your hands free so you can pick faster. And one of the most exciting things is that it installs in minutes. And by minutes, I'm not talking 2 or 3 minutes, but it's a very short install, and it's going to allow us to get you up and running and shorten that implementation time so you can really start seeing that ROI right away. This is just a quick little, diagram, shows you what some of the most popular hardware is. 2 of these are devices for iOS. We have the Honeywell Captuvo and the Infinite Peripherals LP5. Those are what are called sleds. Those take iPod 5s, they take iPhones, whatever device you have, we can get a sled that those will just slide into. We have some hybrid devices, like the TC55 and the MC40, both from Motorola. Those are Android-based rugged scanners. They're enterprise level. They're going to give you those drop specs, the moisture resistance that you're used to with the built-in scanners. And then, of course, we have our standard, Intermec CK71, CK3X rugged scanners for, for really harsh environments. All right, Patty.
Thanks, Cody. So SWK has also been in business for well over 20 years. We're also a gold developer. It's a privilege to be able to partner with a company such as Scanco. We pride ourselves in partnering with quality solutions. Scanco, of course, definitely being one of the best quality scanning solutions out in the channel. The integration between Scanco and multi-bin has been a benefit not only for SWK clients, but also many other clients out there that Scanco has recommended over to us. We have a wide variety of enhancements for Sage 100, including Mapadoc, our EDI solution, which is also integrated to the Scanco solution. So let me just jump into multi-bin. Multi-bin advanced distribution provides details about exact bin location items, the amount available in each bin location, and the amount available for distribution without a significant learning curve for your employees. Now, anyone that owns Sage 100 is aware of the fact that there is a limitation as far as the items that you can place in any particular bin or warehouse. We basically bypass that limitation, allowing you to place multiple items in multiple bins and warehouses depending on what you choose. The solution is excellent for manufacturers, importers, distributors, and exporters. During today's presentation, you're going to see the functionality that Scanco has included as far as their scanning solutions and allowing you to scan the items right and assigning a bin location right from the scanning device. So you don't have to wait until you come back to Sage 100 and have to key it in. So what are some of the pain points? I mentioned a little bit about them on the previous slide, but main one is definitely that you're limited to one bin location per item per warehouse. You're unable to commit inventory items on a sales order, and that's something that multi-bin, should you choose to allocate an item during the sales order, it is definitely possible, but completely optional. You can actually allocate the item at the picking sheet level. The picking sheets are completely crystal and customizable. The inability to place items received on a purchase order in multiple bins. You will notice that you're going to be using the sales order screen, the purchase order screen, the inventory maintenance screen or inquiry that you're accustomed to within Sage 100, but we've included an advanced distribution window which will allow you to either choose the item to sell from a specific bin or place the item in a specific bin while you're on purchase order. Returned items are lost in the shuffle due to inability to enter bin information at the RMA. Again, these are modules that you're already familiar with, and we basically added the advanced distribution window. The same would apply to bill of materials and work order. All of these items are fully integrated with multi-bin, and they're sold when you purchase the multi-bin enhancement. They are not sold separately, so you get them all for the same price. Thanks, Cody.
Absolutely, thank you. All right. So let me go ahead and get our essentially our demo system up here. All right, here we are. So what I'm on our home screen of what's called Scanco Cloud. Scanco Cloud is our application on iOS and Android that allows us to access the cloud-based Scanco warehouse management. So all I do on this is I hit launch. It brings up Scanco Warehouse, and you'll see here we are with Scanco Warehouse. Now all I need to do is click on Login, and it's asking for my user ID. So there's a few different ways to get information in. Of course, the most common way is going to be use a barcode. So I actually have a barcoded employee badge here essentially. So I can just scan my user ID, I can scan my password, it knows my default company, so I just go ahead and I continue into the system. One cool thing is this is a multi-company system, so if you're one of the customers that has multiple companies running inside of Sage 100, you can use this one system and switch between those on the fly. So what I'm going to take you through just a quick little, through some of our transactions and show you on the handheld side where the multi-bin essentially comes into play. So if I go into an item inquiry, within standard Sage, I know if I scan an item, that's only in one location. So what's unique about the multi-bin integration is when I scan my item, it's now asking for my bin number. So if I do a lookup, it'll show me all the bins and the quantity I have on hand. So I can just go through, if this was in 5 or 6 different bin locations, it would actually have 5 or 6 different bin locations here and show me the quantity for all of those. So I'm going to go ahead and back out of the item inquiry. So that obviously gives us a quick way to check on inventory levels. Now I'm going to do a receiving transaction. So this is essentially automating our receipt of goods. I go into receiving. I can scan or look up an item number. When I do the lookup, it's just going to show me all of the open POs. I can manually type it in with our on-screen keyboards that we have. Like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and scan this. It's validating that that's an open PO within my Sage system. And now it's asking for an item. So if I do a lookup, you'll see that it shows all the items. I only have one item on this purchase order, and it shows me the quantity ordered, how many I've already received on this purchase order, and how many are left unreceived. So I'm just going to scan my first item. And now it wants to know where this is going. So there are a few different options here. I can scan a bin location if I'm putting it away, or I can just have everything on that purchase order going into essentially a receiving bin. And then after the orders are received, I could do essentially a bin move or bin transfer to put those items away in their proper location. I'm just going to do a quick lookup. We'll say this is going to the default bin. And let's say I'm going to receive 450 more of this item. I'll hit enter. At this point, I would scan the next item and continue until all the items are received. We're just going to assume for the purpose of the webinar that that's all I had to receive. Once we're done, I hit send, apply the data, hit OK, and now that receipt of goods has been created within Sage 100. So I can just go in there, I can review it, post it as necessary. All of my bin locations through the SWK Advanced Distribution has been updated, and everything is essentially good to go at that point. So this technology that you're seeing is really cool because with it being real time, if something was to change on that purchase order, the handheld would know about it immediately. Now, when we do any of the transactions, you'll notice it only shows what I need to do at that time. It's only going to show me the PO, or it's only going to ask for the item number. So it has that waterfall menu that you saw, so it makes it a lot easier than using your Sage desktop. The physical count is probably one of the other big savings. I want to go ahead and show you that. When I do a physical count, all I need to do is just type in my warehouse. I tell it which warehouse we're counting, and I scan an item. So you'll see here, when I scan the item, it asks what bin. All I need to do is just scan or choose my bin location and how many I counted. So I tell that we maybe counted 12 in this bin and continue. So I would just go through my warehouse, I would scan my items and bin location and continue through until all inventory is counted. So at that point, at completion, I would hit send. It would automatically populate my physical count entry within Sage 100, and then I could just run my variance report, recount as necessary, and then adjust my inventory. So you'll see during, obviously, all those transactions, that it doesn't create a lot of extra work. A lot of people are scared about using a multi-bin system, but you'll see all it does, it asks for one more piece of information. And it gives us, almost the limitless capabilities of tracking our inventory within our warehouse. We also have picking. Picking is probably one of the other, main reasons of going with a multi-bin system. When we go into the picking transaction, it's asking, of course, which warehouse. So I can just, type in my main warehouse, my 000 warehouse, and it's asking what staging bin. So I can actually pick an order to a staging bin and essentially build that order over time. And while we build that order over time, I can still in my inventory track. I know it's not in stock. I know it's over here in the staging bin waiting to be shipped out. So this is obviously a really good way to handle that. So I'm just going to do a lookup. Let's say we're just going to send it over into 1002, and I'll scan or look up a sales order. So when I do a lookup on my sales order, you'll see I have all of my open sales orders. It's going to validate that that's an active sales order, and you'll see now that we have the sales order added, and from this point we can continue and picking that order. So all we have to do is hit start pick, and you'll see that we have our default bin location, and it's telling me to scan this item. So it's kind of like a directed pick. It's going to tell me where to go. I just scan the item it tells me, I continue, scan the next item, and so on. When we're done, we just hit that send button, it goes through and automatically moves all that inventory into that staging bin to be able to properly track it. All right, so that's, kind of a quick overview of how the multi-bin system really works from the perspective of the handheld. It's, really simple. It doesn't create a lot of extra work on the front of the user, and it makes it a lot easier to track that inventory. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch the presentership over to Patty, and that way she can show you really where the information is going once I have it into Sage 100 and how it's tracked on that front.
Thanks, Cody. That was excellent. So just so everyone gets a better picture of what actually happens with a multi-bin on the back end, you're basically avoiding having to key in all of the information that was just shown on that handheld. You won't have to key it in manually. But what I'd like to do is show you where the information is going to land back in Sage 100 and how the multi-bin affects the different modules that were mentioned during the scanning presentation. Before I go into the actual modules, I just want to point out the fact that multi-bin will allow you to set it up depending on your specific requirements. So, for example, you're able to limit advanced distribution to specific warehouses or product lines, and then you decide if you want to allow over distribution or include pending quantity and available quantity, etc. I won't read through the whole screen, but I just wanted to point that out. As far as the integration, because you have all of these modules that you could integrate with, there are different options that you have per module. So for example, if you're integrated with sales order, do you want to show bins on the picking sheet or only with quantity available? Do you want the picking sheets to allocate inventory instead of having to allocate during the sales order processing? Do you want to distribute quantity by bin location, tier, or available quantity? And the distribution sort order can be ascending or descending. So these are just a couple of options that you have available depending on the modules that you decide to integrate with. So I'm going to jump right into the purchase order receipt. Well, let's start with inventory first, and then we'll go to the purchase order receipt of goods. Now, the first thing that we saw during the scanning presentation was the fact that you can actually choose an item and view the different bins that the item is located in. So within Sage 100, we provide the multi-bin advanced distribution button that will signal out every single bin location for which this item has ever been located. It'll also signal out any existing or open sales orders or purchase orders. So you're able to see exactly where the items that you're scanning are available. Now let's go to purchase order receipt of goods. And again, this is just following the ScanCo solution and their process. If we go to receipt of goods, you're not going to have to do any of this because you did this with the scanning solution already. So I'm receiving a purchase order, and the advanced distribution will provide you with this yield sign that lets you know you have to distribute the items. You'll have the advanced distribution window available now within the purchase order. If you say lookup quantities and then click on the lookup engine, it'll show you every bin that's available where this item has been placed in the past, and then you can choose to distribute. Or you can create a new bin and distribute at that point. So again, this is all something that you would have already done with your scanning solution. You wouldn't have to do it here anymore, but the information will become available to you instantly. As far as sales order, when you're creating a sales order, if you decide to commit the inventory at the sales order level, you can definitely do so. Or you can have the item be allocated at the picking sheet level. It's entirely up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and choose an item. And then here's where the difference comes in as far as multi-bin. You'll have the advanced distribution window come up. And at this point, you can pick the item from specific bins. Well, let me go ahead and just finalize this so we can go to the picking sheets really quick. And I mentioned that the picking sheets are completely customizable. Bear with me. After this, we are definitely open to questions, Adrian, because it's very straightforward, as you can see. The scanning solution is ideal. It saves everyone a lot of time. It leaves almost no room for errors. Now, my picking sheets are very simple. I'm not anywhere near a crystal expert, but as you can see, the information that you're looking for specific to the bin locations is available to you right at the picking sheet. And that pretty much concludes the multi-bin side of it. I know everyone is wondering how this can be done so quickly, but it's very straightforward. There's a very, very small learning curve because most of your employees are already familiar with Sage 100, sales order, purchase order, inventory, and really all they need to do is get used to the multi-bin extra step, one little extra step of choosing which bin location in the different areas. Adrian, do we have any questions?
Yes, we have several questions here. And I thought we could go ahead and flash the contact information. Should I switch it back to Cody?
We have a really good surprise for everybody, yeah.
This is one of the best parts of the presentation.
All right. So we now reveal Patty and I's true identity.
That's right, everyone. There I am. And I'm just being modest. I mean, I look beautiful, but...
Cody and Patty are also lifeguards. They're coming to save your warehouse.
Famous one.
We have a couple polls, too. I'm going to flash up. If you guys notice that their contact information, you can always reach out to Cody at cody@scanco.com and Patty at patty.benitez@swktech.com. I'm going to launch a couple polls while I read the questions off. Are you interested in learning more about multi-bin warehouse management enhancement? And we have several questions here, so let me read those while the audience, if you can, just take a moment to answer these polls. Are you going to send out a link to the recorded presentation? Yes, Linda, thank you so much. We will be sending out follow-up emails along with the contact information of the presenters, the PowerPoint, and the recording link. So thank you for that question. What are the capabilities of serialized inventory? Thank you, Robin.
Perfect. And I'm not sure who on what side, but I'll answer from the Scanco side real quick. When we're scanning items, we do check for the valuation. So if it has lot or serial valuation, the handheld will prompt for that. So it will ask for a lot number or will ask for a serial number. And Patty can let you know how the multi-bin side handles that.
Thank you. As far as multi-bin is concerned, we basically follow your setup in inventory management. So if you do have lot or serialized items set up in inventory management, when you're working with multi-bin, it will also ask you to distribute the items accordingly based on valuation.
All right. And Waleed, thank you for your question. If I choose to allocate products when picked up only, and not when the sales order is created, do we still have to enter the bin location on the sales order?
No, you do not.
And Ryan, thank you for your question. What if our items do not have barcodes? I carry 2,500 SKUs. And not all items have barcodes. Can you mix with barcoding and non-barcoding items?
Absolutely. And that's an excellent question that we get quite a bit. And the quick answer is yes. So you'll notice we have on every transaction where we're asking for a piece of information, we have a lookup. So if you do that lookup, it's going to show you the items that are on a specific purchase order or sales order. So you can choose those from that menu. You can also manually type them in. And you, of course, if they have barcodes, you can scan it. We also have label software that works in conjunction with our solution that will allow you to print labels on the fly as you're receiving items. So it might make sense to just start barcoding all those items as they're coming in the door.
All right, and we have another couple questions from Waleed. Thank you. This was an issue with us when we first used the multi-bin module because our sales staff do not know what bin to choose when they are creating sales orders to the customer. Besides, most of the time we don't have products in the warehouse until the sales order is created and the products are purchased. So that was more of a statement.
Right.
Is the shipping a functionality that comes in with ScanCo? Do we have to install anything on the Sage 100 for shipping?
So as far as the shipping, that is part of our, the actual shipping's part. Now, where we showed the picking is an actual enhancement. That's not included in the standard software, but we can definitely discuss that with you. As far as what's required to install, there's essentially two pieces. You do need the barcode module, and we do have, of course, a small piece that's installed on your server to allow communication to the cloud-based client.
And where can I get info on the software for creating barcode labels? Thank you, Brian.
So that you can reach out to me at cody@scanco.com. I can send all that information over to you. And there's also, there's plenty of, companies. Obviously, we would love to help you out with a truly integrated solution. But if that doesn't make sense, there are other companies, that you can just buy the software and manually create your own barcodes. It's obviously a little more time consuming, but we can send those options to you as well.
And Robin has another question. Thank you, Robin. So if I have a skid with 10 serialized items, do I have to scan each item that is serialized, or does it have an ID where I can scan that ID and it will give me all the S/N per pallet?
Right, and that's an excellent question. So if I have an item and I have, let's say, like you said, 10 serial numbers, from the handheld, I can scan that item once, and then I can just scan all 10 serial numbers. If you don't want to do that, there are other ways and modifications that we can just essentially scan the first serial number, type in the quantity, and it'll essentially auto-fill in the serial numbers sequentially, if that is always the case, if your serial numbers are always in order. But there's a lot of different ways to handle that, and I would definitely recommend to reach out to us to discuss that.
Okay, so it doesn't look like we have any other questions. I just asked the audience, if you have any further questions, go ahead and click on that question mark button next to your name and indicate your question in the text field. We'll take another minute or so to wait for more questions. Patty and Cody, would you like to close out with anything further?
I did want to mention that anyone who has MapAdoc, please keep in mind that multi-bin will also work with MapAdoc. So if you do not have a multi-bin solution, you're definitely going to want to see the SWK multi-bin solution with MapAdoc.
Perfect. And I'll piggyback on that statement as well. If you are using MapAdoc, ScanCo does have an integration into MapAdoc. That way we can speed up that creation of your UCC 128 labels and ASNs. So we do integrate very well with that. But other than that, I definitely appreciate everyone's time and appreciate you having us, Adrian.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys offering this presentation. It's fantastic. And we do have a couple more questions that just came in, you guys, if we can take a moment. Stephen, thank you for your question. What's the pricing for ScanCo? Stephen already has multi-bin, but he's interested in the front-end ScanCo solution.
Absolutely, that's an excellent question. So depending on the needs, what transactions and hardware options, and really how you want to utilize the system, the pricing varies quite a bit. So that's something that's done more on a case-by-case basis. So if you just want to shoot over an email, I can get some rough ideas over to you based on a few questions I'll have.
And Cody, can you flash your email again? Ryan would like to write the contact emails down.
Absolutely.
Right, they wanted to see the email, uh-huh.
I think that's what it was. I just want to see my picture again.
This is what happens when you work for SWK and ScanCo.
we do have fun. All right, yeah.
So perfect.
Do you have that screen up?
Yeah, we can see it. Right. And I will be sending everybody a follow-up email with a screenshot here of the emails that you can contact both Cody and Patty. And with that, I think we're ready to go ahead and close out the presentation. Thank you, Cody and Patty, as always, for joining us today. And thank you, audience, so much for spending time with us. And we will be in touch shortly. The video, Stephen, the video will be ready. We do have one more question here, Stephen. The video should be in your inbox no later than this evening. We're pretty quick about that. So with that said, we'll go ahead and close out the presentation. Thank you so much, Patty and Cody.
Thanks,
Thank
Adrian.
you. Thanks, Cody and
Patty.
Adrian. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
My pleasure. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.